students, welcome back to my channel again. So in today's video I'll be teaching you about displacement. So in the previous class I have explained to you about distance and displacement. We have learned about the definition of distance, where distance it is the path length covered by a body will move in any direction. Whereas displacement is what? Displacement it is the shortest distance for body when it move in a specific direction. I mean from the initial, when a body moves from the initial position to the final position, or from the final position to the initial position. So in this video, we'll be discussing more in details about the displacement. So as you know, distance it is a scalar quantity and displacement it is a vector quantity. See, displacement here, it is a vector quantity. When I say vector quantity, I mean it will have both magnitude and direction. Now, displacement, it can be positive, it can be negative, it can be zero. Unlike distance, distance is always positive, and it's zero or it's always positive. Whereas this displacement, it can be positive displacement, it can be negative displacement, and it can be zero displacement. So let me explain to you first what is positive displacement. Now, how is the displacement is positive? The displacement of an object is positive if the final position of a body is to the right side of the initial position of the body. So I will draw here a diagram, you will understand better. Let's say this is your origin. Let's say this is a number line with the origin. And let me take here 2 points. One is point A and another one is point B. Let's say the position of A is x1 and the position of an object B is x2. So the body is moving from A to B. This is called the position. This x1 here is the position at A, x2 here is the position at B. We call this the initial position. This one we call the final position. Mean from this origin, this length is x1 and the distance of B from the origin is how much? This is the length. This is x2. So here x1 is the position of A, x2 is the position of B. Now when we say positive displacement, I told you this final position, right, is to the right of the initial position. So if the final position is to the right of the initial position, we get what? We get positive displacement. Now displacement this case will be final position minus the initial position. So here your final position is x2 and the initial position here it is x1. So x2 minus x1, look here, if this is a number line, so definitely this x2 is greater than x1. So here you imagine x2 here is greater than x1. You can easily understand from this line that this position here, this x2, is greater than x1. So here x2 minus x1 will be positive. So this is called positive displacement. Okay. So in positive displacement, you should remember that the final position of an object is always to the right of the initial position. And you know that this, the formula of displacement is the change in the position, final position minus the initial position. So here, since x2 is greater than x1, since x2 is greater than x1, therefore the displacement is positive. Clear? Next, I will be teaching you what is negative displacement. Now, when we say negative displacement, I mean the displacement, the magnitude, okay, the displacement of an object is negative. I mean it should have a minus sign. Here it is positive, this negative should be, the name itself, okay, the displacement is minus sign. Now, it is just this negative displacement is just the opposite of positive displacement. See, in positive displacement, I told you, the final position is to the right of the initial position. Whereas, in negative displacement, the final position is to the left side of the initial position. So I can draw here this diagram. Very similar to this. So again, here this is the origin. Let's see, O is the origin here. Let's say this is your B, this is x2, and this is A, this is your x1. So this is the final position. I'll just write here. This is your final position, and this is your initial position. Alright. So this is the distance. So here in negative displacement, you see here this position, this final position, okay, is to the left of this initial position. I told you this is the initial position, this is the final position. So B here is to the left of A. So this will be your final position. This is your initial position. So in this case, the displacement will be how much? Displacement in this case will be how much? It will be x2 minus x1. Now, if you look at this number line, you will understand clearly that this x1 is greater than this x2. Here, x1 is greater than x2. So if this one is greater than this, therefore this value will be negative. So displacement is negative. So it's just the opposite of the positive displacement. Next is the zero displacement. See, the word zero displacement, the word this word, this term is zero. This zero is displacement, the displacement here is zero. Now, how does a body have zero displacement? So you see here, when you say zero displacement, the displacement of body is zero. So my question now is, what your question, you will ask me, how can the displacement be zero? See, that can be easily understand. If you look at this diagram here, see, when we see zero displacement, the body, it will not change its position. Even though the body is moving, okay, but finally the body will come back again to its old position. So if there is no change in the position, the displacement here is zero. Let's say now, Now let us look at this diagram again. Okay. Now let's say this is the origin, this is A, this is B. Now imagine a person, okay, is moving from A to B. Okay. So the position will change now from x1 to x2. So again, if a person now move from B to A, this is move in a straight line, he will reach again to the same position that is at A. So will there be a change in the position? The answer is no. So if there is no change in the position, the displacement will be 0. Okay, I think you are clear with what I have explained today. So I'll just briefly explain to you once again what I have explained today. So first of all, we will start first with positive displacement. What is positive displacement? Positive displacement is the displacement when the value of the displacement is positive. How it is positive? The position of a body, the final position of a body is always to the right of the initial position. And remember here, final position here is greater than the initial position. I mean the magnitude of this is greater than this. Next is negative displacement. Negative displacement is when the when the final position of the body, I mean this final position, is to the left of the, see, this is A, this is B, so it is to the left of A. So here, the initial position x1 is greater than x2. So you get negative. And how do you get zero displacement? When there is no change in the position of an object, you get zero displacement. So with that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope this video will be helpful to you. And if you have any questions and queries, you can always ask me.